Okay, let's get into your reading, Aquarius. Okay, I want to talk about the people who have tried to move against you because something is shifting, and it's shifting fast. The Ace of Cups. I keep coming back to this card, okay, because there's so much sitting inside of it. A single hand emerges from a cloud, holding a cup that overflows with 5 streams, doves circling peacefully above it. This is royalty energy. This is the Holy Grail cup of love, intuition, knowledge. You are highly ranked, okay? Highly favored. You're the blessing here. And I want to actually sit with that word for a second, okay? Because it isn't casual flattery. The Ace of Cups only shows up when something entirely new and unearned in the best sense is being offered. A genuine overflowing gift rather than something you had to fight tooth and nail for. And I want you to actually let yourself receive that, okay? Because I know some of you have spent so long being the one who gives, who fixes, who shows up for everyone else. This card is telling you it's your turn now. High Priestess. And this card, okay, this is giving me chosen one energy. A figure sits between 2 pillars, okay? One dark, one light, a veil behind her, a crescent moon at her feet. This is a card of quiet, deep knowing, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself to be real. And I think that's genuinely the whole key to this entire reading. Okay, you were never loud about what you knew. You simply trusted it quietly and let time do the rest of the work. And I want you to actually feel proud of that. Okay, not just acknowledge it quietly. Patience like that is genuinely rare, especially under pressure. Especially while people around you were making noise you could have easily reacted to. You're an earth angel here, okay? A light worker. And I feel like people have constantly been in your business. Evil can't cross running water is what's underneath all of this, okay? And I feel like you've kept it moving. You've listened to your intuition. You've allowed the messages to freely flow through you. That's actually a rare skill, okay? Most people override their own intuition constantly, talking themselves out of a feeling because it's inconvenient or because someone louder in the room disagreed. You didn't do that. And I want to name the actual practice behind that, okay? Because it's genuinely a skill, not just a personality trait. It's the daily habit of pausing before reacting, checking in with yourself honestly, even when the easier thing would have been to just go along with everyone else. And I want to name something about that quiet resistance, okay? It rarely gets noticed in the moment. No one applauds you for a boundary you held privately or a feeling you trusted when everyone else dismissed it. But it adds up, and it's exactly what's paying off now. And I just feel like you're untouched here, okay? Genuinely untouched. And I want you to actually let that word settle, okay? Untouched. Not because nothing was thrown at you, but because none of it landed. This card is ruled by the moon, okay? Which governs intuition, the subconscious, and things that move beneath the surface rather than loudly on top of it. Whatever's been quietly circling around you, you've sensed it long before anyone actually said it out loud. These people have been watching you really closely, okay? To see if whatever they've been doing to sabotage you is actually working. And it's not. It's really not. And I want to sit with that for a second, okay? Because there's a particular kind of frustration that builds in someone when their effort produces absolutely nothing. That's exactly the position they're in right now. There's a lot of jibber jabber, okay? A lot of talking about you, a lot of snooping, a lot of information being passed from one person to the next. There's a lot of talk about you, but here's the thing, okay? You are, in fact, the main character here. You really are. And I think it's worth naming why that's actually true, okay? Not as an ego statement, but as an energetic one. Main character energy isn't about seeking attention. It's about the story naturally organizing itself around someone who's actually being honest about who they are. And honesty in this specific sense, okay, isn't about oversharing or dramatic confession. It's simply about not performing a version of yourself that was built to keep other people comfortable at your own expense. That shift alone, okay, simply refusing to keep shrinking is often what actually triggers all of this reaction in the first place. People who benefited from your smaller version of yourself rarely handle the real one gracefully at first. And I want to be honest, okay, that's genuinely a real cost of growth. Not everyone stays. But the ones who do, they were never actually threatened by you to begin with. And that distinction genuinely matters, okay? Because it separates the people worth keeping from the ones who were only comfortable with a version of you that made them feel bigger by comparison. And I want to say this gently, okay? Because it can feel harsh at first. Some relationships were only ever built on your smallness, and losing them isn't actually a loss. It's simply space clearing for something more honest to take root. The Empress, and I want to bring one more card in here, okay? The Empress, a figure sits on a cushioned throne, okay? Surrounded by a lush wheat field, pregnant, radiant, at complete ease. This is fertility, okay? Not just in the literal sense, but in the sense of anything you've been quietly nurturing, finally being ready to grow visibly. A project you've been sitting on, okay? A skill you've quietly developed. A version of a relationship you've been patiently building toward. Whatever it is, it's ready now. And I want you to actually trust that timing, okay? Not rush it, not doubt it either. Some things need the exact amount of quiet growing time they got, no more, no less. And if part of you is impatient right now, okay, that's completely understandable. But trust that the same steadiness that got you through the hard part is also what's going to let you actually enjoy the good part when it fully arrives. This card is ruled by Venus, okay? The planet of love, beauty, and genuine abundance. Whatever new relationships or opportunities are forming in this cleared space, they're going to feel nourishing, not draining. And I want you to notice that difference specifically, okay? Because it's easy to confuse intensity with connection. Real nourishment usually feels quieter, steadier, the kind of relationship that leaves you with more energy afterward, not less. You may be trying to keep a low profile, okay? Keep to yourself, do your own thing. But as the Ace of Cups, you stand out. And I want to be clear, okay, standing out was never something you were trying to do. It's simply a side effect of authenticity, the kind that becomes impossible to ignore once you stop performing for people who were never actually rooting for you. And I want to name how freeing that actually is. Okay, the specific relief of no longer shrinking yourself to make someone else comfortable. You get your full self back. The parts you may have been quietly editing out for a long time. Maybe that's your sense of humor, okay? The one you tone down around certain people. Maybe it's your ambition. The size of what you actually want, that you downplay so you didn't make anyone else feel behind. You don't have to do that anymore. Let it take up space, okay? The ambition, the humor, the full range of who you actually are. The people worth keeping around will never ask you to make yourself smaller for their comfort. And I feel like you're driving these people kind of crazy. It just feels like tricky energy, okay? Like they're trying to work out some way to play you, to get a read on you. And honestly, okay, there's something almost funny about that effort. Not in a cruel way, but in the sense that you can't actually strategize your way into understanding someone who's simply being consistently, unguardedly real. There's no code to crack, okay? No hidden strategy to uncover. What they've been treating as a mystery, was actually just honesty the whole time, which is exactly why they've never been able to get anywhere with it. And I want to name why that's happening, okay? Because people who feel unsettled by someone else's calm almost always respond by trying to gather more information, hoping that information gives them some kind of leverage. It doesn't, not here. And I want to explain exactly why, okay? Because leverage only works against someone who's hiding something. You've been consistent the entire time, which means there's genuinely nothing to be found here that contradicts who you already are. It also feels like people are getting kind of upset, okay, because your energy is starting to feel like it's slipping through their fingers. And I want you to hold on to that image gently, okay? Not with satisfaction at their expense, but simply as confirmation that you were never actually theirs to hold in the first place. You could have predicted all of this, okay? Or intuitively picked up that this shift was coming. You might have even said something about it. I'm getting laughter, okay? They may have laughed at you about it, but it's happening. It's happening just the way you said it would. And I want you to actually let yourself feel vindicated by that, okay? Not smug, just quietly, genuinely right. Your intuition earned this moment. The world, and I feel like you're having a real victory here, okay? With the World card, a figure dances inside a laurel wreath, okay, surrounded by 4 symbols in the corners representing the 4 fixed elements: earth, air, fire, water. This is a card of full completion, okay? A cycle actually closing. This card is ruled by Saturn, okay? The planet of discipline, structure, and things that only arrive once real work has actually been done. Whatever this completion looks like for you, it isn't luck. It's the natural conclusion of everything you've already survived and grown through. And I want you to actually take stock of that, okay? Not gloss past it. Think about who you were at the start of whatever this whole situation was and who you are now on the other side of it. That gap, that's the real story here. Not the drama around you, not the noise, not even the reckoning happening elsewhere. The actual story of this reading, okay, is you quietly becoming someone you can genuinely be proud of. And I want to leave you with one final thought, okay, before we close completely. Months from now, maybe far sooner than that, you're going to look back on this exact reading. The one where you sat here wondering if any of this was real, and you're going to smile at how much you worried. The way we always smile at old fears once life has finally plainly answered them. I want to be there for that moment too, okay? Even from a distance, even just through a comment section. Okay, loves, I think that's genuinely everything I have for you right now. Mark my words, okay? Things are already coming together. And they're going to keep coming together, not because of luck, okay? Not because of some outside force doing all the work for you. Because you kept choosing honesty when it would have been easier not to. And that choice, repeated enough times, eventually becomes an entire life. And that's genuinely the version of you this whole reading has been describing, okay? Not someone waiting passively for a miracle, but someone who quietly built the foundation for one, choice by choice, long before it ever became visible. Okay, that's genuinely the reading in its entirety, and I hope you actually feel lighter having heard it, okay? Not heavier. That was always the actual goal, okay? Not to give you more to worry about, but to give you permission to finally set some of the worry down. Wherever you're watching this from, okay? I hope this actually reaches you the way it's meant to. Whatever part of it landed, okay, hold on to that part and let the rest simply pass through. Good luck, okay? Though honestly, I don't think you're going to need it. It's already yours, okay? It always was. You're moving forward peacefully here, okay? while everyone around you is still tangled up in their own noise. And I want to describe what that peace actually looks like day to day, okay? Not some dramatic, radiant glow. It looks like sleeping well, eating without your stomach in knots, laughing at something small without a shadow of guilt hanging over it. It's the ordinary stuff, okay? Finally feeling ordinary again, instead of carrying this constant undercurrent of tension underneath everything you do. And I want you to actually notice when that tension finally lifts, okay? You might not clock it in the moment. It often takes a small pause afterward, a quiet realization of, wait, I actually just felt okay for a second. Hold on to that moment when it comes, okay? It's not small. It's actually the whole point of everything this reading has been building toward. Not the reckoning, okay? Not the drama, not even the victory in front of an audience. Just that quiet, private, deeply earned moment of finally feeling okay. The Six of Wands. And this card, okay, confirms it even further. A figure rides through a crowd on horseback, okay, wearing a laurel crown. People gathered around watching. This is a public, visible win, okay? Not a quiet, private one. This card is ruled by the sun as well, okay? Like the sun card itself, which tells you this win isn't going to be subtle. People are going to notice whether you were seeking that attention or not. And I want to address the discomfort that can sometimes come with being seen, okay? Especially if you've spent a long time deliberately staying under the radar. You're allowed to feel a little exposed by this, and you're also allowed to enjoy it. You're moving on unscathed here, okay? Genuinely unscathed. Okay, so let me talk about what's actually happening to the people who tried to come for you. Okay, Judgment. And this card, okay, this is a real reckoning card. An angel blows a trumpet from the clouds, okay, and figures below rise up out of open graves, arms outstretched. This is the card of things finally being seen clearly, okay? No more hiding, no more pretending. This card is ruled by Pluto as well, okay, which governs deep structural truth rather than surface level appearances. Whatever's actually true here, it's the kind of truth that doesn't need you to say a single word to prove it. It simply becomes visible on its own timeline. This card is ruled by Pluto, okay, the planet of transformation and things that get rebuilt entirely rather than patched over. Whatever's being revealed right now, it isn't a small correction. It's a genuine permanent shift in how things are seen. Whoever was laughing, okay, bragging about trying to hurt you, bragging about trying to use you, they're realizing right now, okay, in real time, that it didn't work. And I want to be clear about what this reckoning actually looks like. Okay? Because it isn't dramatic destruction. It's simpler than that. It's the quiet, humiliating realization that all that effort produced nothing while you kept rising anyway. And I want you to really sit with that image, okay? Not gloating, not needing to watch it happen up close, simply continuing on while the noise behind you quietly runs out of steam on its own. The sun. And I want to bring one more card in here, okay? The sun. A child rides bareback on a white horse, okay? Arms wide open, beneath a sun with a face, rays pouring outward in every direction. This card never hedges, okay? It confirms plainly joy, clarity, a genuinely good outcome. This card is ruled by the sun itself, okay, which means there's no hidden agenda tucked underneath it, no shadow side at all. What you see is genuinely what you get, pure and simple, and I want you to actually receive that, okay, because for a long time you may have had to defend or explain yourself to people who refuse to see you clearly. This card is telling you that season is over. You don't have to keep translating yourself for people who chose not to understand. And I think that's genuinely one of the most exhausting things a person can do, okay? constantly simplifying who you are so someone else feels less threatened by it. That season of shrinking is over now. And I want to name the actual moment this usually shifts, okay? It's rarely dramatic. It's a quiet Tuesday, an ordinary conversation where you simply say the true thing instead of the easier thing, and nothing bad happens. That's when you know, and once that first small moment happens, okay, it gets easier every time after. The muscle for honesty, like any other muscle, gets stronger the more you actually use it. The Tower and the Tower here, okay, confirms this shift is sudden. A tower gets struck by lightning, okay, figures falling from it. Whatever false structure these people built around their little schemes, it's collapsing, okay? And it's collapsing fast. This card is ruled by Mars, okay? The planet of sudden, decisive action rather than slow, gradual change. Whatever's falling apart on their end, it's not a slow leak. It's happening all at once. And I want to note something about lightning specifically. Okay, it always strikes the highest, most exposed point first. Whatever felt untouchable or above accountability before, that's exactly where this shift is landing hardest. And I want to reassure you, okay, this is simply the natural physical shape of accountability. It isn't random. It isn't excessive. It's simply the truth finally reaching the exact place it was always heading toward because they were messing with an earth angel. Okay, I told you, you're a chosen one. And that could be your confirmation. Okay, all of your enemies having it confirmed right now that this didn't go the way they thought it would. They're realizing they're all getting hit with the exact same reality check at the exact same time, okay? And they're talking to each other about it. Hey, this is happening to me, okay? Is it happening to you too? Yep, it's happening to me too. And I feel like these people are losing things, okay? Not their health, not their lives, but their standing, their credibility, okay? The respect they thought they had. And I want you to notice something, okay? Respect built on control or manipulation was never actually stable to begin with. Whatever they're losing now, it was never real in the first place, just borrowed time. The Four of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, okay? There's the Ten of Cups, and it's flipping into the Four of Pentacles. I feel like these people used to be sitting comfortably in that Ten of Cups energy, okay, full, content, secure, and now they're in the Four of Pentacles, okay, clutching tightly to whatever they have left. And I want to describe that card a little more, okay, because a figure clutches 4 coins against their body, 1 balanced on the head, 1 hugged to the chest, 2 pinned beneath the feet. This is the posture of someone trying to hold on to something that's already slipping. And I want you to notice the contrast here, okay? The Ace of Cups showed an open hand, freely receiving. This card shows a closed fist, desperately clutching. Those 2 postures, okay, tell you everything about who's actually in a position of ease right now and who isn't. You are the open hand here, okay? And that openness is exactly why abundance keeps finding its way to you, while a closed fist, by its very nature, can't actually receive anything new. This card is ruled by Capricorn, okay? Which is about earned structural security rather than quick wins. Whatever they built their sense of control on, it was never actually built to last. And Capricorn energy always eventually reveals that their influence over you, okay? Their grip on the narrative, whatever power they thought they had, it's leaving their hands. And I want you to actually feel that transfer of power, okay? Not just intellectually note it. Every bit of energy that used to be tied up in their opinion of you, you get to reclaim it and redirect it wherever you actually want it to go now. Okay, and I do want to talk about one more thread here. Okay, there's someone here, okay, who could have walked away from you in the past, and went and got with somebody else that they thought was flashier than you. And I feel like they're realizing now, okay, that the choice didn't actually give them what they thought it would. They're just quietly living with a decision, okay, that didn't work out the way they imagined. They had a decision to make between you and someone else, okay, and they picked what was easy at the time. And now they're simply sitting with that, okay, watching you continue to rise and realizing what they actually gave up. I want to be careful here, okay, because this isn't about you feeling superior in that moment. It's simply confirmation, gently, that your own instincts about your own worth were accurate all along. And that's genuinely worth sitting with, okay? Because so much of what you felt this whole time, quietly, privately, is now simply being confirmed out loud by everything unfolding around you. And I want to be gentle here, okay? Because I know that thread can bring up complicated feelings, a mix of vindication and maybe old hurt resurfacing at the same time. Both feelings are allowed to exist together. You don't have to pick just one. And I want to give you permission to actually process all of it, okay? The relief, the old sting, even a little grief for time that already passed. Healing was never about only feeling the pretty emotions. And I feel like this is you graduating, moving on. Very protected. Look at this ring around you here. And I want to describe that protection a little more, okay? Because it isn't a wall keeping you isolated. It's more like a filter, letting the right things reach you, while everything that isn't actually meant for you simply bounces off. And I want you to notice how much lighter that actually makes things, okay? Not having to personally filter every single thing that comes near you anymore. The protection is already doing that work, which means you get to actually rest a little more than you have been. Think of it like a well-built home, okay? Windows that let sunlight in, but walls sturdy enough to keep out a storm. You don't have to choose between being open and being protected. You're built for both at once. And I want you to actually notice who's already showing up that way for you, okay? The people who don't flinch at your full personality, who actually seem to light up more, not less. The bigger you let yourself be around them, those are the people worth actually pouring into, okay? Not out of obligation, but because it's mutual. You'll know them by how easy it feels, not how hard you have to work to be accepted. I'm seeing that in this reading as protection, okay? Because you're highly favored. You're being put on a pedestal right now, okay? Maybe even in the spotlight. And I want to acknowledge, okay, a pedestal can feel a little precarious at first, like there's further to fall from up there. But this one is different because it isn't built on performance or perfection. It's built on the ring of protection we already talked about, which means it's genuinely stable. Either that's already happened for you, okay, or it's about to, especially since you're a chosen one. And I want to close out this thought properly, okay, because being chosen was never about being singled out for hardship. It's about being singled out for exactly this specific moment, this exact turning point. The hardship was simply the road that led here, okay? Not the point of the whole story, just the path. And you don't have to keep walking it forever, okay? This specific stretch of road, the hard part, it's genuinely coming to an end. And I want you to actually believe that, okay? Not with cautious hesitation, but fully. You've been carrying this long enough. Set some of it down tonight. Okay, even just for tonight. You don't have to hold all of it at once anymore. Set it down, okay, gently, one piece at a time if that's easier. There's no rush, okay? You have exactly as much time as you need, and I'll be here whenever you want to come back and tell me how it's actually unfolding. I mean that, okay, genuinely. And I want you to actually let that land, okay? not as pressure to perform for an audience, but as confirmation that your work, your integrity, your quiet consistency is finally being seen at the scale it deserves. And I want you to hold that recognition alongside the private peace, okay? Not instead of it. You get both the visible acknowledgement and the quiet personal sense of finally being at ease inside your own life. And I want you to actually let that sink in, okay? Not deflect it the way we sometimes do with praise. You earned this slowly, quietly, one honest choice at a time. And before the final message, I want to leave a few things to actually hold on to, okay? The first, this reading isn't for everyone, okay? And that's genuinely fine. Just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. The second, you don't have to do anything to make this shift happen, okay? It's already in motion. Your only job is to keep doing exactly what you've already been doing, staying in your own lane, moving forward peacefully. The Star. And I want to bring one more card in here, okay? The Star. A figure kneels beside water. Okay, pouring from two jugs, one onto the land, one into the pool, nourishing both what's visible and what's hidden at the same time. This is real hope, okay, not naive hope. And I want to draw that distinction clearly, okay? Because naive hope ignores evidence. This hope is different. It's built directly on top of everything you've already survived and grown through, which makes it far sturdier than optimism alone. And I want you to actually notice the difference, okay? The next time doubt creeps in. Optimism can be talked out of itself, but this kind of hope, the kind rooted in real lived proof, holds up under pressure. This card is ruled by Aquarius, okay? The sign of the future, genuine individual growth. Whatever you're stepping into next, it isn't a return to who you were before all of this started. It's a genuinely new chapter. And I want you to actually let yourself get excited about that, okay? Not cautiously hopeful, but genuinely excited. You've earned the right to actually enjoy what's coming instead of bracing for the next blow. And I know that bracing habit can be hard to let go of, okay? Especially after a stretch of feeling like you had to constantly watch your back. Give yourself permission to actually relax now, a little at a time, not all at once if that feels like too much. The third, when the gossip and the noise reaches you, okay, and it might let it simply confirm what this reading already told you. They're talking because they're rattled, not because they've actually found anything real to hold against you. And I want to give you something practical here, okay? When that noise reaches you, you don't owe anyone a response, and you don't owe anyone an explanation. Silence, in this specific case, is its own kind of power. And I want to be specific about why, okay? Because explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to understand almost never actually changes their mind. It just costs you energy that could go somewhere far more worthwhile. Think about what you could actually build with the energy you'd otherwise spend defending yourself to people who never wanted to be convinced, okay? That redirected energy is exactly where this next chapter is going to come from. And I want to answer one more thing, okay? Why this reached you now with this much detail. You needed to actually see the full shape of what's happening around you so that whatever reaches your ears next, you recognize it for exactly what it is. Noise from people who are already behind you, okay? Not people you still need to worry about catching up to you. You're already ahead, okay? Genuinely, not just in this reading's language, but in real lived terms. Noise from people who are losing ground. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. This is already in motion, okay? The Ace of Cups and High Priestess confirmed real, protected, chosen energy. The World and Six of Wands confirmed a real, visible victory already forming. Judgment and the Tower confirmed a real reckoning already underway for the people who came against you. And the Four of Pentacles confirmed their grip on you, and they're standing, already slipping away. So let me lay this all out one final time, okay? Slowly, so it actually settles. The Ace of Cups and High Priestess confirmed you are protected, favored, genuinely chosen. The World and Six of Wands confirmed a real visible win, already forming. Judgment and the Tower confirmed the people who came against you are already facing a real reckoning. Their schemes collapsing, their standing crumbling. And the Four of Pentacles confirmed whatever grip they thought they had on you, it's already slipping through their fingers. One message: you were never touched. They were never in control. And wherever you're at with all of this tonight, okay, I want you to actually feel this settle in before you go. Not just read past it. You've spent long enough waiting for people to see your worth clearly, okay? This reading is telling you plainly, they're already starting to, if this resonated, take what serves you and leave the rest, like this reading, and make sure that you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. I genuinely mean that, okay? Not as a formality to close things out. Readings like this one only feel complete to me once I hear how they actually landed in someone's real life. So if you feel like sharing, okay, I genuinely love to know what part of this actually hit hardest for you tonight, and whether any of it matches something you've already quietly sensed on your own. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.